What is the greatest insight?
That's where that number changes, because some people go, wow.
Yes, everything has its time and its season.
That was something that we did there, right?
It does have all the working parts. You are correct, but I also want it to look good.
You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe, comment, share, all of those things. If you want to take the conversation beyond just listening here, to go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Man, follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, The Roofer Marketers, or Roofing Success on all social media platforms. Today we have another successful roofing contractor, Tyler Slade. Slade Roofing, how you doing, man?
I'm super. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Tyler, how did you get into roofing?
Happened a long time ago. When I was 16, my older brother worked in roofing. He went out and bought a dirt bike and promptly wrecked it and broke his back. I think he lost his T6 vertebrae or something like that. And at that point, he needed someone to carry up shingles for him once his back healed enough to climb on a roof, which I think was probably still a bad idea for him. So that was 1997.
So it was like, hey, you're in the business. Let's go. I need help. Right?
Yeah. You want a job? I got one for you.
Even if you don't want a job, I got one for you. Because
there's only a couple months left in the school year. And so he's like, you don't need those other months.
So you started on the roofing side. And then we were talking about it, where did you go from there? I mean, straight into owning Slade Roofing, or what's the journey been for you?
No, I picked up roofing pretty quickly. I was starting and finishing my own projects when I was 18. Then when I was 19, I was a missionary for 2 years. When I got back from that, I realized I could kind of do white collar work since you wear a suit and tie all day, right? And from there, I polled a bunch of people and I went into insurance. So I own an auto and home insurance agency. It's called Canyonlands Insurance. The office is in Tempe, Arizona. We've got clients in 37 states.
That's awesome. So the insurance industry, right? White collar, professional guy, and then all of a sudden, roofing pops back up.
Yeah. So fast forward to 2016. I had a few clients file claims they never should have filed. And one in particular who filed multiple claims. And I thought, hey, this is stupid. If I start a roofing company, I would niche in the insurance claim side of it. And I had a son that was going to college at the time. I gave him advice on basically starting an insurance, a roofing company. So I said, hey, you should start a roofing company. You don't have to work retail to pay for college. And I coached him through it the first year. So then the second year, he kind of got burned out with it. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to try summer sales. I talked him into that pest control thing. And at that point, it was left in my lap to run my insurance agency and answer all these phone calls that were now coming for roofs. So as a youth, you got kind of brought into roofing, right? And then as your son goes to college, you're like, hey man, this would be a great source of income, real flexible, right? Let's get you going on that. But it came back to you. So your brother did it to you when you were younger and kind of got you into it, and then your son brought you back into the business. Yeah, it's a good business. So here's my pitch. I'm like, look, if things don't work out in life, roofing is a skill. Everyone will always need a roof. Roofing is a skill that will provide for a family for the rest of your life. I showed him how to roof. I got on every roof with him and taught him how. And then when I took over, it just took off.
Yeah. And so with your, now you have this insurance agency and you have a roofing company. I mean, really what you had mentioned was you had a couple of your insurance clients that were kind of just filing bad claims, right? And it's like, man, these contractors, those contractors, Tyler,
Yeah.
like those contractors, always trying to game the system, always trying to get a claim approved. So what has your approach been to building Slade Roofing with that in mind?
So I do a lot of product research. And so my goal is to reduce insurance claims, one, by letting people know, hey, this is a repair. We can do this for less than your deductible. It's not worth filing, right? That's one way. The next is going to be to avoid the claim altogether by providing a warranty, right? You're going to transfer that claim to a warranty. And so I become certified with the manufacturers, Owens Corning, Malarkey, Tamco. And so long story short, when I put on a roof, we get to transfer that risk to the warranty. And then we get to avoid the risk by installing a high quality product that has hail resistance and wind resistance. Those are the big reasons why insurance companies will pay out on a roof.
Yeah, for sure. And so that was appealing to you from an insurance agent, like, hey, we're going to reduce claims, like by using higher quality products, hail resistant products. And now you're thinking of it as an insurance agent. And,
yes.
and I guess, from the homeowner too, right? Like they don't want their, they don't have to pay the deductible now. Maybe it's repairable. You go and repair it. So you're thinking of it from all those angles. That's an interesting one. I haven't heard anyone really speak to that. Transferring the
risk.
kind of the risk. Right? Because all insurance is risk-based analysis, right? That's what your premiums are based on. Everything is based on that.
You transfer the risk to the insurance company. And now the insurance company, when they have me install a roof, they've avoided certain risk of hail because we put on a hail-resistant roof. And then they've transferred it to the warranty because we're putting a manufacturer's warranty on there. And if you're a premium installer, like I'm a Malarkey premium installer, they'll give a 15-year warranty for my leaks, and then they'll do a 40-year warranty on their product with no depreciation. That's kind of amazing to me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just an interesting way of looking at it, right? Like I think that's missed a lot in the roofing industry, that is a selling point. And so with your experience on the insurance agency side, we were talking the other day, and you have a lot of other agents that'll refer you business.
Yeah, I market to insurance agents for sure. I typically, if I have a client that has a claim issue, usually I refer them to a competitor of mine. I like to keep things separate.
Yeah. So you refer them business, they refer you business, right? Like, or do you ever get that reciprocation from those companies?
No. Like if I'm going to send it over to another roofer friend of mine, they typically don't run into insurance claims. I usually help them with the claim side of it too, saying, hey, this is what the insurance companies approve. This is how you work with them. And I help them submit their paperwork. Because most contractors, for some reason, don't understand how to get through all the red tape that's involved with an insurance policy.
What things do you do that you could help other contractors understand in that process? What's that process like for you?
Oh, what can I do to help them understand the process?
Yeah, like what is the process? What are contractors not doing right in that process that you see most often?
I use a few analogies with clients to help them understand the insurance process. One is you've got to picture the insurance adjuster as a doctor. He's the guy that comes out and says, hey, Jim, you're sick. I'm going to write you a prescription. That adjustment is the prescription. The insurance company, they're the ones in charge of the scope and the price, right? We play the role of a pharmacist in filling that prescription. And where we're going to vary from that is we might pull up that adjustment and say, hold on, he's got plastic vents detach reset. They're metal. We can just take a photo and you send it to the insurance company. I've had insurance adjusters mismeasure the roof, in which case I finished one 2 days ago. No, yesterday. The roof I finished yesterday, they had mismeasured that roof, and I just supplied the documentation and we got it approved and went forward. But that's where we vary from say a pharmacist, is we get to look at it and say, hey, there's a few things missing here. Let me document this and send it over to you. And then helping the client understand their portion is their deductible. They have to pay it. There's no legal way of getting around or creative anything of getting around your deductible. That's a felony. And if they're wanting someone to somehow eat their deductible, they're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah. Do you educate your clients on the insurance side on that too? Like, hey, if a contractor's coming to you and they're telling you this, they're telling you it's, that you don't have to pay your deductible. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. How do you have that conversation with the homeowners that you have on the insurance side?
Oh, so for me, it's a little bit easier because I'm the authority on the subject. You know what I mean? It's like I've taught continuing education to insurance agents on the topic of insurance fraud, right? You can have some usually the people trying to commit fraud like that or talk the client into it are a little on the shady side. Yep. And if they can't tell the difference between me and them right off the bat, then there's other problems. I usually don't have to say, hey, you've got a janky contractor. He's going to cut corners. If he's going to cheat the insurance company, he's going to cheat you too. So, and then where's your warranty? What are you going to do 6 months down the road when this thing leaks, or 3 years down the road?
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys what do you do on the labor warranty side? Do you focus on that side too?
So on the labor warranty, Malarkey will warranty my labor for leaks for 15 years, no depreciation. Nice. So that's that. Nice.
And then, because there's a friend of mine in the industry, Matt Danskin, and he helps contractors find, and I've had him on the podcast before, and I have him on. We're going to do another episode here soon, and one of his strategy is teaching contractors how to market to insurance agents. So I think this is another opportunity to have some of that conversation. What he's looking for. So those contractor friends that you have, those roofer friends that you have that you send your homeowners to, do they send you insurance referrals?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I would consider myself a very sincere person. I usually don't say, hey, if I'm going to send you referrals, you do this. I send them because I think that roofer's a good roofer. He just doesn't get the insurance side of it, right?
Yep.
And I use other analogies with helping people understand the insurance side as well, because they're used to them setting the scope and price, and now that's the insurance company doing it. And my other analogy is like, look, if you're going to have a baby, you don't go and interview 10 different OBs saying, hey, if this baby's a C-section, what do we do? Like, can you give me a bid on a C-section? And then what if it's a C-section and my baby's in the NICU for 6 months? What's that bid going to be? And I'm just comparing these bids, and I'm going to pick the lowest bidder to deliver this baby. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Say, look, insurance is going to pay us all the same. Like, if you really need that epidural, we're going to give it to you. Insurance is going to reimburse us for it. We just send them the documentation. Yep. So those are the analogies I use. I'm like, they took price out of this. You get to hire me because of that warranty, because of the product I'm going to install, and because, frankly, I have all my teeth and I can conjugate sentences. Sorry, roofing has historically set the bar low.
Yes, yeah, and that is the perception. How have you seen the industry change since 1997?
I think it's similar to where restaurants were in the 1950s and 60s. You had a lot of mom and pop restaurants, and then you've got these chains that are born, and people are like, hey, I've got a turnkey system. All I have to do is replicate that, right? And so I think the turnkey revolution is hitting contracting, and you still got a lot of mom and pop shops that have no consistency to what they're doing. But I think they've either got to change or die by the wayside. The good news is the industry, I mean, we're so darn overwhelmed that I guess there's room for someone to start up a company almost every day.
Yeah, there are new companies entering the market all the time, and And really, I mean, people coming in from various backgrounds, and now we're seeing a lot of private equity money entering the space. And I think that is not just the private equity money, but just the opportunity that people are finding in roofing is bringing a professionalism that goes very much against those old myths of the the roofer, right?
Yeah.
What in the lack of professionalism in the roofing industry, that is such an opportunity. A lot of contractors that I've had on the show, a lot of people that I've had on the show, that's how they started their own company, right? Maybe they worked for a roofing company as a sales rep or, in the production side. And they went, man, we're not doing, I could do this a lot better. Or they made suggestions to the ownership, and the ownership was like, yeah, we've been doing it like this for years. Don't worry about. And they're like, well, I see it. They see a gap, right? They see a gap. What are some of the gaps that you see in the roofing industry, and how have you filled those with your roofing company?
Oh man, I listen to the complaints that my wife has about every contractor. And then I try to fill that hole. And I think that's the most succinct way to say it. Like, hey, they came out and then they never called me back.
Yeah.
Just simple things like that. Or they showed up and they're like, holy cow, I don't want that guy near my family. So.
Appearance, communication, right? So appearance, all of your sales reps, polo shirt, logoed, wrap trucks. How do you present that high level brand to the homeowner when you show up?
So wrap trucks. I would say a professional shirt. Most of them are going to have like a logo on it, like mine. Not all of them are exactly the same by any means, but the trucks all have the same wrap. The trailers all have the same wrap, because that's like that's a cheap billboard driving around nonstop. And when someone told me if you have 3 wrapped vehicles, people think you have a fleet. They're just everywhere. And then that's the other thing is like, it needs to be presentable, but not gaudy, in my opinion. Like, I'm a pretty simple person. I think my newest vehicle, I don't even drive my newest vehicle. My newest vehicle that I drive is a 2013 Ford F-150. It's not going to pull a dump trailer, but it's more professional than what I was driving when I started. I think I was driving a Frontier, a Nissan Frontier. So 2-door king cab. But I mean, that was it. As much as I'm like, hey, I can make my sales this way. People, they expect a certain thing when they come out. And so you really need to be that. I have one salesperson that drives a Prius, and hopefully his presentation makes up for driving a Prius, but expensive driving around.
Yeah. What processes have you put in place in your business to manage that, the communication, to make sure the sales reps, the production team, everyone is communicating with the customers on a high level?
So that one's a little different. I use AccuLinks for my CRM, and I have form emails that are set to go out when clients reach certain stages. So it's ensured they're going to get a certain amount of information. My orders are sent. They're going to get an email saying, hey, your order's going to come. This is what you need to expect the day of. This is what we expect from you, and this is what you can expect from us. And then the other, I don't know, there's a system in place, but I just have to beat that drum with employees. If a client calls, call them back quickly. If there's a problem, call them back quickly and get it resolved, because it's if you sit there, it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the things that you've carried over from your insurance agency kind of into the roofing business? Like, are there things that you're like, hey, I learned business better by by running this business, or the reverse? What?
So back to that, it's a universal thing no matter what the business is. Back before Google reviews, because I've been using those for almost 20 years. Prior to that, though, I had a company called, what was it? It was called, I'll think of it in a few minutes. They provide client feedback. So I'd send out a survey to the client afterwards. It didn't go anywhere. It was just for my information. And anyway, long story short, I got all this feedback, and it was always, he answers his phone. And that's it. I mean, if you want to be set apart from any other contractor, answer your phone and then show up. That's all you have to do, really. And I get it. It gets hard if you're the only person answering the phone and your marketing's working and your phone's blowing up. Like, I show my employees, like my cell phone, I get over 100 calls a day, every day except for like Sundays. And it's just answer your phone.
Yeah. It is a simple thing that gets overlooked a lot. It's crazy.
Yeah. I get that same comment on roofing too. So when people leave their Google reviews, that's the other thing is I go and look at companies, I read their bad reviews and I read their good reviews. And that's an education right there. Yeah. But it's not just roofing, and it's not just insurance where you have a lack of professionalism. Let's take a doctor, for instance. Like when a doctor gets out of medical school, or a dentist, they get out of medical school, no one taught them how to run an office. Yeah. No one taught them that. And it's two completely different things. A doctor or a dentist is just like a roofing installer, right? Like I know how to install roofs. I had to learn to be a business owner, right? And installing is easy, and it's an easier lifestyle because it's kind of mindless. I install the roof, I go to the next one, right? Professionalism is one that you just have to raise the bar just a little bit.
I'm listening. I listen to books all the time on Audible, and I'm listening to the one called The Perfect Customer Journey. Never Lose a Customer Again. It's about the perfect customer journey. And he talks about, he has a story in there about this dentist that he goes to. He moves to a new area of a new city. Never thought about, I better find a new dentist, right? But then all of a sudden, cracked a tooth and was like, man, I need to get a hold of someone. Reached out to a dentist. I can't remember if it was a referral from a friend or found him on Google or what it was. I can't remember how he found the company, but they got him in right away. He was very impressed. Like, wow, I've never even been a customer of yours, and you're fitting me in, right? So you're providing me this additional level of value. Now, then they go through the procedure and get them all set up, and then a follow-up call comes after, like a few hours after he's at home again, and it's like, oh, I want to give you the dentist's personal cell phone so that if you have any issues, call her. And he was blown away by this, like these little things, right? And it's allowing that communication, because that's what people want, right? They want to be communicated with. That's where the frustration comes in, in almost everything in business dealing with customers, is a lack of communication. It's so crazy. And it's just a simple phone call, right? And if you can't do it, fill that gap. That you may need to hire someone. You may need to outsource it. Like there's plenty of ways to make sure that phone gets answered. What are some of the other business lessons you've learned? You said you kind of mentioned you have to learn business, right? Even when you got into the insurance agency side of thing, you had to learn how to be an insurance agent, but you had to learn how to run a business. On the roofing side, there are two different
things. Like most people start a business, according to Michael Gerber, through an entrepreneurial seizure, right? Hey, I know how to do this better than the owner. I'm a better roofer than he is. All he does is drive around his truck and talk on the phone all day. I'm going to start a business, right? And that's why you have so many enter and then leave, because they don't know how to manage their time, to manage other people's times, and to think on their feet. And roofing has a lot of moving parts. Like I had to move around my schedule just in the last few days because it was raining in one area, not in another. And I have to kind of juggle things around.
What makes a good business owner?
Makes a good business owner. I have someone crazy enough to work like 80 hours a week, and, and just take complaints from people, like whether it's employees or I don't know. I think you have to have thick skin, one, and then I think you have to have the ability to resolve problems quickly and make decisions quickly, and then live with the decision. So, and then the other part is trusting people enough to let them do their job, right? Like, I have to trust my manager enough that he's going to supervise the job properly and it's going to not leak, right? Whereas if I was still stuck in, hey, I'm the best roofer in the world, I've got to climb on every roof, make sure everything's done, micromanage everything that's going on. And if that's the case, then we're moving so slow that we're doing a couple of jobs a week.
Yeah. That's Robert Kiyosaki wrote the book, the Cash Flow Quadrant, employee, self-employed, business owner, investor are the quadrants. And
yes,
that's self-employment. There is a big difference between self-employment and business ownership, right?
Correct.
Yeah, big difference. And how do you how do you manage your time with two separate successful businesses?
So with the insurance, whenever I moved to this location here in Arizona, I waited about 11 months to get a license, right? And so I took that time to work on my insurance team and get them running. And then now that they're operating, I would say I am a business owner. Yeah. I don't talk to clients every day. I talk to employees every couple of days at least. I mean, there's days where it's multiple times a day, but it's usually brief conversations and I empower them to make a decision, right? And then my office in Idaho, they operate pretty much without me. Occasionally I'll check in and ask, why are sales the way they are? What's going on? And then here I would say I am self-employed. I am the everything to this location. And it's hard because that person in you that loves sales, loves meeting with customers and loves selling roofs. And that's the thing. Like, people look at it. I remember when I told my brother, the one that got me into roofing is a college professor now. And he's like, you have a white collar successful business. Why would you start a roofing company? That's when I told him I'm going to start a roofing company. I'm like, because it's there. I don't know. And I think there's something, Jim, ingrained in every male that we need to work with our hands and we need to see something built or improved. It's weird. Like, I enjoy roofing more than I do insurance. I like the idea of insurance, right? I like the business. I do not necessarily enjoy sitting at a desk every day, helping people find better coverage than they had before. Anyway,
I think there's something to that for sure, and it's one of the things to it is you get to see a project to completion.
Yes,
right? Like it's much different, right? It's much different than a new policy.
Making a difference in the world. That's a 50-year roof I put on there. That's gonna be there a while. Hopefully.
That's right. And then you can see it. It's visual. It's whether it's in other trades too, and remodeling or things like that. There's an experience to it where it's like, wow, that was something that we did there, right? Like, there's a good feeling to that. And a good feeling because it's a little bit more practical. I mean, insurance is practical, but it's kind of invisible to most people, right?
Correct. Which they're a lot alike. Insurance and roofing are a lot alike in that most people don't understand the quality difference in an insurance policy, and they don't understand the quality difference in a roof, and they need to be educated. And that's the problem. Is I think there's a lot of roofers out there that are just like, what do you want? Okay, yeah, we'll install that. We'll install anything. And you really need to specialize in something, right? I can't insure anything that walks in the door, and I don't want to do every roof that comes my way, no matter how big it is. Like, shoot, I looked at doing a flat roof for a Hobby Lobby, and I'm like, that's not my specialty. Pass. That was a huge project that if I had taken it, I probably would have lost money in the long run because it's moving me away from what I do well. I do asphalt shingle roofs really well. And if done right, and I mean, getting employees to cooperate 100% of the time is really difficult, right? But my crew is really efficient about everyone knowing their job. And so it's like a circus or a performance. Like, people are blown away. They showed up like clockwork at like 5:30 a.m. and they finished my roof before dark. Like, they're just blown away. They're like, I can't believe this. I expect this to take 3 days. So
exceeding expectations, right? Exceeding expectations. That's man.
I have a slogan in insurance that is service beyond expectations. Anyway, with roofing, it's the same thing. You want to set under promise, over deliver. Really.
Yeah. We talked the other day. You've had, there's lots of wins in business, but there's also challenges, right? And one of the things that you've had a lot of locations in your roofing business. What are some of the advantages of having multiple locations? What are some of the challenges that you've faced in having multiple locations?
So the challenges are a person, for someone to run a location, they really need to be dedicated to it. It needs to be what they want to be doing. And so if ever I've seen a location fail, it's because someone's like, hey, this isn't what I want to be doing full time. I want to be off at 5. Well, if you start a business, you're never off at 5, right? The reward is 20 years down the road, right? And so if you've got that 9 to 5 mentality, a business owner is not really a good situation for you, or even an office location regional manager, And so, yeah. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
What traits in the locations that you found where people were successful? So it sounds like it's finding a person that's going to be the head of that location. They're going to head up that location.
Or multiple people who can work together to do it.
Yeah. Or multiple people. Yeah. Awesome. So what are you looking for in that person? Like, what have you found as a successful kind of a successful person? And then you did talk a little bit about the unsuccessful person. Hey, that's the person that, hey, they want to quit at 5, right? They want to turn their phone off. They want to, turn the game on, grab a beer, watch TV. They don't want to go beyond that. What are you looking for in that person?
In the successful person.
In the successful person, yeah.
Someone has the ability to problem solve. Mm-hmm. Someone who will answer their dang phone. I would say someone who's willing to be proactive and address a situation if it goes right and get it resolved. Drive out to the project and see it. Most homeowners expect to see that salesperson or the owner there at their property. And if they see him, they're blown away, right? They expect it, but then they're not expecting it. And you show up and they're like, this is amazing. And I think what it says to people subconsciously is this person really enjoys what they do. Mm-hmm. They really enjoy roofing. I love roofing. I'm not necessarily a big fan of being a business owner at this point. Like, I think every business owner can probably relate to about once a month, I'm ready to just sell it all, walk away, fire everybody, and just go back to just being me, because I had a pretty comfortable life doing this as just me without all the other additional headaches.
And that's just something that makes me think of is there's always these pressures put on you as a business owner that you need to be growing, you need to be expanding, you need to be right. Like, you always need growth. But there are great times to not grow.
Yes, and everything has its time and its season.
Yeah, and there we've I know contractors that have gotten into the 5-6 million range, and they went, "Ooh, I'm sick of herding cats. I'm sick of herding these salespeople around."
Shrink back down to 4 to 5 million.
Shrink back down into that 3-4 range, and be more involved on a day to day in the roles that they are good at. Still having the support in the aspects that they either are not as proficient at or don't like doing, right? And so, and just running a lean team at, in that range, there's no reason that you have to always be going for the, multiple 8-figure business, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, and for me, so just my thought as I've looked at this is I go back and forth. Right now, I'm currently in that thing of, hey, I like this office, my new location office, because I'm pretty much the only one here doing sales and my orders and stuff, and I'm doing really well with it. I mean, we do a project every day. Some weeks, last week I did 6 roofs and we didn't work Monday because it rained.
Yeah,
and that's. And I typically do a roof every day, 5 days a week. That's pretty darn good, right? I'm happy with the insurance running itself. Eventually, like my question that I have for you and one to toss on your other podcast is, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
When is it? When are we done? Right. And I would love to hear everyone's definition of what retirement is and when it's over, because for me, like, the insurance agency operates and it's run. And like, if I wanted to and roofing fell apart tomorrow, I'm just fine. I can operate without even showing up to work for the rest of my life and I'll be okay. So why do I keep doing it, other than I like to see that project begin and improve before and afters,
Yeah.
So anyway, any feedback you have, I'm open to.
No, I think it's so unique to every individual, right? Like we talk about, I've had this conversation before with one of the coaches in the roofing industry, Nathan Thibodeau, and we were talking about your why, right? We were talking about whys, and people will put revenue goals on their company. I want to get to 8 million, right? But then it's, why do you want to get to 8 million? And then you get into the whys of why. Well, that would mean that I have this amount of income, right? Well, why do you need that amount of income?
And what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? And then you get to those, what are you going to do with it? And that's where that number changes, because some people go, wow, I really don't need that much.
Yeah,
I thought I needed the income that a $15 million roofing company would give me.
But if you work 8 hours a week and you're making millions in a year, what good does it do you if you don't have any time to do anything with it?
That's
or
right.
If you're just satisfied with not. So some people like. My wife and I are not car people. I have never purchased a brand new vehicle.
Me either.
And I probably never will. So what do? And I had this conversation with my wife. I'm not a boat person. I look at a boat and I'm like, man, then I'll have to winterize it. I don't know how to drive it. Like, I thought if I ever bought a boat, it'd be fun as if my employees knew how to drive it and I use it as a company incentive. And then occasionally they take me out, because I have no earthly idea how to do that. Like, I've spent my life working. I have no idea how to really have fun. This is what I do for fun. It's like playing real life Monopoly. And you're right. People pick those $8 million numbers because it's easy. It's an easy goal set because you're just like, hey, let's just double what we have now. let's 10 million is a good number. But you're like, well, why? Why 10 million? It's a goal. And the harder thing to do is sit back and say, well, what do I need to do to make this system work a little better? Because like, people say, hey, how's your operation running here? And I'm like, well, I don't know if we can use the word running or limping, at this point. Trotting, maybe. Anyway, those are my questions with life. I don't know that I have the answers.
No, the answer can change.
Yeah.
Right? The answer can always change. It can always change. There can be a point where you go, you know what? Yeah, man. Wow. I've built up a nice nest egg and I want to go fishing or I
Yeah.
want to go golfing. And, that ends up being what you want to do. And,
That's the sad part. I don't fish and I don't golf.
yeah,
Like, I fished so much as a kid. I'm like, my kids want me to take them. I take them every now and again. I sit there in a chair and I watch them. Like,
I'm with you though
I
on
don't
the
know.
fact that
What
I'm
do
with
you do
you
when
on
that's what you enjoy?
yeah, I'm with you on the fact that business becomes can become your hobbies, right? Like it's fun. There is an enjoyment in it. There in the activities of it. There, whether it's just seeing the befores and afters, or whether it's being out there talking to people, that could be that's a social aspect because a lot of the people that you have as customers, there's a portion of those over time. I can't speak for you, but some of those people have become friends.
Yeah.
Like it's there's a lot to that there's more to business than just the financial and monetary aspects of it and goals of that. So that's it's definitely something for people to ponder for sure.
Yeah. And for me, I have 8 kids, and a part of me wants to hang on to things long enough to get them into it and be like, I'm ready to be out. Right. Anyway, I just set my calendar for December. My hard stop date in December is like December 9th, and I'm not going to pick up any more roofs until January 7th, just so I can take a break because it gets overwhelming doing this nonstop.
Yeah, I mean you're down in Arizona now, so it's a little bit different. But with the Idaho, when you're in Idaho, and now like for northern markets like Minnesota, we have clients that'll do that. They'll Thanksgiving to February. It's like we're going on vacation, and it's
Yeah, my Idaho season goes from April 1st to October 31st, and if we have a warm winter and we get to do roofs into December, great, more power to us. We'll just keep doing them.
That's right.
And that winter makes a forced stop, which is a great relief.
That is, yeah. One of the things that you had said, and I think I have some business owner friends who have gotten to the point where their kids are old enough and they've started businesses with their children, and I've looked at that, and I have 7-year-old twin boys. And I'm like, man, that would be cool. Is that kind of how you're feeling with some of this, of like having it there to pass it on or to give them that experience? How has that been as a father? Like how, and to me, it sounds cool.
It sounds cool. I hope it gets there. My oldest son that I started it with, he's now an insurance adjuster because he kind of exited when he did the summer sales thing.
Yep.
And then now he works as an insurance adjuster for American Family. And then I have a daughter that's about finished college. She had an insurance license but let it lapse. So far, the older two don't really seem to have an interest in the business. I employed my son-in-law for a little bit as created the estimates and basically did the accounting in the office. And my hope is that these 6 younger ones, someone eventually will say, hey, I like it. And I keep trying to tell my girls, because I have 5 daughters, I'm like, roofing would be a great industry for a girl, right?
It is.
For a female. And why? You're the unicorn in the room. You're going to draw everybody's attention. Does that make sense?
I've had a few great guests on the podcast, women that are owners of roofing companies or sales coaches in the roofing industry. And there's a great opportunity for them for your daughters.
And they understand a little bit more about professionalism, I think, than a lot of men do. Like there's a lot of men that they have the comment of, hey, it's good enough, And I have a story I tell clients. I had a revolver when I was a teenager, and I broke like a Western revolver, and the slide on it broke. And I had an uncle in Arkansas in the tool and die industry, and I was like, "Hey, can you tap this out and fix it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I can get that taken care of for you." Comes back and brings it. It's this Frankenstein-looking bolt sticking out the side of the barrel of my blue barrel pistol. I'm like, "What did you do to my gun?" He's like, "It works, don't it?" I'm like, well, yeah, it does have all the working parts. You are correct, but I also want it to look good. Right. And a lot of times as men, that's the way we are. We're like, hey, we got this roof to work. And like, no, it needs to look good and it needs to work. And we need to make the process easy for the client where it's not a nightmare. And you have to prepare the client for it too. Yeah. Like part of it is just preparing them, saying, hey, it's going to be like a war zone here. I had kind of a debacle a few weeks ago where this client, his date had got moved because of the weather. And he wanted to be moved ahead. And I said, hey, we can start your roof. We finished our project early about noon, and his is a small 16 square roof. We can probably get it in and finish it. And so I call him and say, hey, can we start your roof? But I got voicemail. Send him a text. No response. I tell my guys, go there. I'll be able to reach him. He wants it done. We'll get him done on time, and it might go into tomorrow, but most likely we'll finish it today. Long story short, he had already set his expectation of that day moving from that day all the way to Thursday, right? And I just skipped him ahead because his was small enough to start and finish in that afternoon window from 2 to 5. And he gets home at about 4:30, and he lost it. He was, oh my goodness, my roof is missing. Are they going to be able to get it on in time before it gets dark? And anyway, the answer there is we worked it out. Yeah. We worked it out. But the expectation was missed, and so things kind of went awry.
Yeah, expectations, man, you have to really, truly understand the expectations of your clients, because they don't buy roofs every day.
Yes, and they don't file insurance claims every day.
No, they definitely
do. Right? Two new things that they're not used to doing.
Yeah,
it's confusing for them. And I try to tell them, hey, this is what I do every day. 20 years, I understand insurance, I understand roofing, I understand how to make these go together. And I have an analogy I use with my salespeople, both in insurance and in roofing, and that is, this is what we do every day. We're the professional. Even if you've only been here for a week, you've done a lot more roofs than our clients ever going to do in their lifetime. Okay. Even if you've only been here for a week. So imagine you go to Florida to hop on a cruise, and you ask for an Uber to come pick you up. And you're like, scoot over, brother. I'm driving this thing. And you have that Uber driver scoot over, and you borrow the keys, and you're trying to drive around, and you've never been there before. You hired that professional for a reason. Yeah. Just go with it.
What advice can you give our audience? What is the greatest insight that you can share with our audience that has helped you find success in your roofing business?
What is the greatest insight? Under promise, over deliver, and return people's phone calls. I think that's going to be the key, that even if you're a mediocre business owner in a one-man show, that's going to help you stay on top of things and still be successful.
Awesome. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.